Hi, I'm Shauna Martin, and I recently started a podcast called Book Till June. It's funny the things that you remember when you're alone with your thoughts. A lot of people asked us, where is episode 1? Where is it? And I didn't have the nerve to say what was really going on until now. So episode 1 was kind of our pilot. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have any clue of how podcasts work, or recording, or audio, or editing, or any of that. I had talked about doing this for years, but I was honestly just too scared to do it. Recently, I lost a friend in a most brutal way to domestic violence. Her name was Megan Stedman. She was amazing, brilliant, and full of life. She was my student for 2 programs at a school that I taught here in Spokane. She was first my student for our manicuring program, and then she was my student again for the instructor cadet program. Megan was an amazing student. She was so smart and talented, and then just a wonderful person to be around. Megan, through the instructor program, actually became what I call my protege. She was so attentive to everything that I would do and say. She would finish my sentences, and then she was even able to instruct people kind of in the same light that I did, and it just made me really proud. I knew that Megan was going to have a really bright future ahead of her, so of course I couldn't wait to see what she would do. While she was at school, we would talk and chop it up, and she would always tell me, "Oh, Miss Shauna, you need to have a show." And I would tell her, like, "Yeah, well, there was a time that I really thought I would like to do a podcast, but I probably won't be any good at it." And then she would just sit there and encourage me and say, all the time, daily, "Miss Shauna, you need to do it. You need to do that podcast. You need to do it. You need to stop being scared. I'm telling you, you need to do it." And I would just laugh and go, "Oh, Megan, you're so funny." But yeah, maybe one day. And then it occurred to me that one day I just wasn't going to do it. I'd put it to the side. I was too scared. I was scared to fail. I was scared I would suck. And I was scared that no one would like it. But Megan believed in it. Megan believed in me. I'll always be thankful for that. Megan was taken from us too soon by domestic violence, and I couldn't believe it. I was extremely sad. I couldn't believe that she was gone and she wasn't living anymore. And in my process of healing, I kept reflecting that Megan wasn't here. In all the things that she dreamed and all the things that she wanted to do, she was never going to get to do. Not ever. Not ever. And in that moment, it occurred to me that I'm able to do the things that I want to do or dream of doing or wanted to try to do. And I'm just hiding behind fear of fail. So I decided, because I am still here and I do get the opportunity to try, that I had to be brave enough, since Megan believed I could, that I should try. So I got online, I booked a recording time at the local library because I don't have any recording equipment and I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know, what are the things that I need. But booking the library was really easy and it was a free resource, so why not? I invited some people that I love and that I wasn't going to be embarrassed around, to be myself, because I knew I was going to need that support. And then on top of it, an old friend had volunteered to help me with the audio, because when I looked at the audio technical piece, I don't even know what it's called, the audio mixer, it looked a lot harder than anything that I've ever paid attention to. So I went online and said, hey, does anybody know how to use this? And an old friend popped in and said, yeah, I do. And I can help you. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much. And anyway, so I told them all the date, and then we met down there at the library on a Sunday at noon. I had the topic. I had the people. I had the equipment. But now I was scared, like, excuse me, what I would sound like on a microphone. Was I going to sound weird? Was it going to sound stupid? But who cares, right? Like, we're here, so we're doing it. It turns out that this has actually been one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And I'm only sorry that I wasn't brave enough to try sooner. I want to dedicate this episode to my friend Megan, who encouraged me to do this, who believed in me to do this. And if she would have been here, she would probably be a guest multiple times over. She's so funny and so smart. And I just wanted to say that, when we got started, we didn't have anything. And the first episode that we recorded, the audio was terrible. We didn't speak into the mics correctly. We didn't know like where to place our mouth and how close we needed to be. And we kept moving away from the mic. So the sound was really distorted. And I contemplated about like, no, we can't release this. But then I thought, no, you know what? Again, no fear. And I'm just going to do it. So anyway, I want to dedicate this episode to my friend Megan, who encouraged me to do this, believed in me to do this, and if she was here, would have been a guest on it. Megan, you are missed, and I am sorry that you did not get to do the things that you wanted to do. But know that you are loved by so many, and so many people miss you. And I want to say that this one is for you. And while we're on the topic, if you or someone that you know is caught in a dangerous relationship and is potentially at the risk of domestic violence and being taken from you, please do what you can to get help. Please do what you can to get out. Please do what you can to help those that are in that situation. It's easy for everybody on the outside looking in to say, oh, well, they should have left. It's just not that easy. So today I wanted to drop some information with the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The phone number is 1-800-799-7233. And if phone calls are too hard, you can always text the word BEGIN in all caps. That's BEGIN to this number, 88788. You, of course, can also Google your local coalition in your area for resources. The YMCA is a good advocate if you can't think of anywhere else. Also, DSHS, which is the Department of Social and Health Services, they also have resources to help you get into a better position. So, anyway, thank you for listening to the reason why I didn't release episode 1 from the beginning. I do want to drop it here. Episode 1. It's titled For the Glue of It. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm Shauna Martin.
And I'm Misty Perlman.
And this is
Book Till June.
Okay, hi. So welcome to the first podcast we've ever done. We're doing a podcast on beauty topics, real conversations about what's happening in the industry between licensed professionals, people that aren't licensed professionals. We'll talk about the experience that we've had, stories, and then it should be a little educational also. So just a little background on myself. I'm Shauna. And this is an idea that I've had for a long time, and now it's coming together. And I've been a licensed professional in the industry for 24 years, an instructor for 10 and a half years, and then just taking clients and then taking students and helping people and being part of the community is what I've really been up to. Now I want to venture into podcasting and see where that goes. And I want to bring some friends with me each episode. So each episode will be a different topic. Today's topic is going to be called For the Glue of It. Because there's actually people in this world that when they get nail services done, the nails are lifting and they're gluing them down. But before we get to that, I want to take some time to introduce my guests that I have with me today. So I brought two friends with me, Misty Perlman and Nicole DeRose, and I'm going to give them a second to introduce themselves. Hey, Misty.
Hi, my name is Misty Perlman. I have been in this industry for a good long 34 years. I was originally licensed in 1990. Yeah. Woo. Went to cosmetology school while I was in high school back in Chicago is where I'm originally from. So I graduated high school and hair school at the ripe old age of 18. Been in management, been in full service salons. I'm licensed as a cosmetologist, a manicurist, hopefully soon to be titled nail technician. And an esthetician as well. Currently, I am, an instructor. Let's not forget that. That's why I know Miss Shauna. We were working together at a local cosmetology school. And that's where we met and became good friends and collaborate on a lot of stuff. So, no longer teaching at this moment, but I am working, managing a barber shop and concentrating in men's hair cutting right now. But all things beauty is my passion, and helping others and educating students. I still have former students reaching out to me all the time, doing all kinds of stuff, right? Running through practicals, learning how to prep for their state boards, and then when Miss Shauna asked me to jump in here and be a guest on her podcast, I'm like, sure, why not? So here I am, hanging out with some friends.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Missy, thanks for coming. This is going to be so much fun.
So much fun.
All right, and then Nikki.
Nicole, I've known Shauna for, oh my gosh.
A long time.
Way too long. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's see,
2008?
that's a long time. I'm not a buzz at math, but that's forever.
Yeah, I was referred to her by a boss and I started getting my nails done and friendship became, and I have loved this industry. My mom's been in the cosmetology industry since I was about 2, and I've had my nails done for about 23 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I enjoy it. I like fashion. I like the beauty industry.
Yeah. You're an excellent client, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. One of the best clients ever. Like in this industry, I feel like you have clients that are clients, and then you have some that are just above the expectation of clientele. You absolutely follow that. It's that category.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it's different too because I come from growing up in this industry and helping my mom and understanding what you go through as a professional and what you shouldn't go through. So.
Agree. Well, ladies, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
And then we do have a guest audio guy with us. Yeah, Doug. Say hi, Doug.
I'm glad I don't have a mic right now.
Doug's helping us get off the ground, so I appreciate him being here. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, people who glue their nails down and the tragedy behind it. So one of the things that we take a look at are people that talk about these things in the world. And they'll talk about them online. They'll talk about it in group chats and over dinner, over drinks. But there's always somebody that that's like either the client or the technician, and they've dealt with one or the other. They've dealt with somebody that's come to them that's got nails done and they're lifted and then they glued them down. And there's a big part of people that feel like it's not a big deal and that it's not a problem. And then there's another sector of people that feel like it's a big problem and there's a big reason why it's a big problem. So we want to try to talk about that today and then break that down and see where the conversation leads us, right?
Sounds good.
Okay. So for example, we've got somebody that posted a question, just kind of like, hey, I've got this client, regardless of what I say to that person, they, I tell them not to glue their nails down and how it will wreck it and how it will get an infection and how dangerous that is. And the client continues to just keep gluing it down, disregarding it, ripping nails off, what have you. So the technician wanted to, fire the client, and so to speak, and get rid of the client. So they didn't know how to go about that. So they also asked the question, like, how would I properly, and politely and professionally ask this person to no longer be on my schedule? So as we were sitting here kind of visiting and hanging out, we talked about several things, but one of them was being able to tell the client, no more, no thank you. So let's talk about that a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know myself, like I've had all different types of clients in 24 years. There's lots of different situations. I don't think that there's anything that I either have seen or haven't seen. I feel like I have seen it and heard it all. But there's always somebody that's gluing the nail down and they won't stop. And they actually will giggle, like, and giggle about it. And you're just like, it's not funny. Like, you're hurting yourself. And now I have to deal with it. But again, as a skilled technician, there's some things that don't really bother me because I know that I can get down to the bulk of it. I can, chew through it and then repair it and then get into a healthy place with the nail. But there's some other technicians I feel like are frustrated with that because it does take a lot of work. They have to, prep the nail, get it off. And then also there's some criteria that says that you shouldn't work on it all because it's bacterial infection. But then again, if you send that client away and they still have that nail on, it's not getting the air and the break that it needs to heal. So it's like a catch-22. So one thing that you have to do is take the nail off, the artificial nail off, and then allow it to sit with no product on it for a while until it dries up and heals, and then also send them to the doctor. But the last thing you want to do is put more stuff on it, right? So with that being said, if I ever had to, there's not very often that I've had to tell a client no thank you anymore. It would have to have been really like something really out of line for the client to be dismissed off my book because I love money. So
Absolutely.
and I am a solutions person, so I'll try to find solutions and figure it out to the best of my ability within my scope of practice. But what would you, like, Misty, what would you have said to somebody if they were just like not listening and they don't want to follow the rules and they just keep...
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because they come to us because we're the professional. And I think for years it was just kind of like, oh, well, yeah, this is what I'm suggesting or whatever. But as I was teaching my students, I taught them just a simple phrase, in my professional opinion. I have a license. Okay, obviously we're not diagnosing it, but it's my opinion, my professional opinion. I don't think you should be using the Gorilla Glue to glue your nails.
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We don't know what kind of glue they're even using.
Yeah.
So they're
Good
at home
point.
and they just go pick up something out of their husband's toolbox and they're like, oh yeah, maybe that, I don't know, what did it glue before? What's on the tip of that glue? What is it?
That's it. Oh, it's just so funny. Yeah.
So
No
I just
kidding.
feel like if we continue to just be like, well, I told you last time. I just feel like, again, beginning that conversation with, in my professional opinion,
Right.
I would highly suggest,
We try
with that smile on my face, I would highly suggest that we don't glue our nails down. Now, you got that client that wants to just keep doing what they do, right? So then I got to start looking at myself first. Why did the nail lift?
Right.
Why did the nail lift?
Troubleshoot. Right.
What's the troubleshoot? What did I do? Why is it lifting after a week or 2 weeks? I'm not supposed to see her for 3. What are we doing that it's lifting anyway?
Good point. Yeah.
That makes her feel the need to glue it down. Are we waiting too long for her to come back? I start self-diagnosing it that way first.
Yeah. Smart.
Rather than just saying, don't do that. That's fine.
It's a good one. Yeah. I agree 1000% with you on all of that. I've been blunt with clients and been like, you shouldn't do this and this is why. But to like this person online, right? Like to just, their first instinct is like, I can't have nails outside. Like, I wonder how long did the client
Like, was it one instance?
Right.
Was it 20? You know, like what was the straw? So then it just makes me also wonder, like, okay, well, is it older? Is it like veteran nail techs versus newer nail techs? Like, is it something to do with?
Are you fully booked that you can afford to just fire that?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, because where I come from, like you're your own moneymaker. So if you're telling people never mind, like potentially they'll tell you never mind. We don't need to come to you. Right. We just go somewhere else. Right. Absolutely. So the troubleshoot, that's big. A lot of times you're right. It comes down to like the preparation. What's happening? Why is the nail falling off? Why is the nail lifting? Why does the client feel like they need to do all these things? Absolutely. Good point. Yeah. What do you think, Nikki?
I agree. Well, it sounds like this one she kept doing it. And so it kind of got to the point where the nail tech was like, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, if you would. And if she's not willing to take her health serious, you know, then it's, why would she? And book out longer appointments, because it sounds like it's also not just having to fix the problem over and over, but it's more time, which she's probably not being compensated for money. You know, and I think it's all a learning point. I think we never know everything, and I think we should definitely try to learn. So if she doesn't know why it's happening, you know, try to figure out, reach out to, I'm sure there's blogs out there that you're on. If you had a question about maybe a client's issues and you didn't know how to solve it.
God bless Google.
Yeah.
Google's there for everything.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely. I think that in my career, I've only had to actually fire 3 people out of my entire career because it was whatever it was completely out of line. So I do feel like when I would just be slightly frustrated with, I guess you could call them behaviors, right? Client behaviors. I'm not going to argue with the client because then that's bad for business, right? You tell somebody and the next thing you know, you've got a bad review and other people are spreading vicious lies about you. So I never want that. But the most professional way that I would ever handle it, because this person online was actually going to type out a message to the client and text it to him, which I would never ever recommend somebody do, have these conversations. If you're going to have a conversation, it should probably be on the phone or in person, and it should never be through like a text message per se. But if it were me, I simply would just make myself unavailable. For example, if they were like, well, can I rebook? No, sorry, booked. I'm already booked up. And I probably wouldn't go out of my way to like rebook that person at the end of the service like I do with everybody else, right? Like to guarantee that money to come back in. So I would just, thanks for coming, and then get them out the door. And then when they call back in, oh, I'm so sorry I booked. Oh, well, what about next week? Oh, sorry, booked. Oh, well, what about next month? Booked the entire year. Just booked out. But hey, I'll put you on a list, and if anybody cancels, I'll make sure to call you. Is the most polite way I could ever have managed to do that. And I feel like that's an unpopular opinion also. I'm imagining when people listen to this podcast and they hear that, they'll be like, well, that's offensive, or maybe they'll be like, oh my God, she did that to me. You know, which is like, well, who cares, because it's the truth. And at this point in my career, and considering that I'm retired, I no longer care about that part of it, about what people think, and they're not going to come back in to see me because I'm not doing that anymore. Does that make sense? Right. So I feel like it's safe to say the truth about it, which these things happen. And if anybody thinks they don't happen, they're lying to themselves, I think.
And that is the most non-confrontational way, right? If you don't want to get into a whole discussion and I've told you not to do that, and please don't do it, then it's easy that would just be an easy way. Yeah. Right?
Easy way out. Nobody's hurt.
Nobody's hurt. I'm booked.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And if I change, if something changes,
right,
which is it's particularly pointing to like if my mind changes about wanting to continue to deal with you and your behaviors, then I suppose I'll consider it. But it would have to be honestly like the brokest month in January for me to like consider bringing some of these situations back in front of me, because some of it's just not worth your time. Time is money, right? Anyway, okay, so then that leads us to, obviously when you're gluing it down, people are gluing the nail down, like what happens after that? Like what's the potential fallout after that. So of course, when people glue the nail down, they potentially are trapping in bacteria, and then it's going to grow, and then it's going to fester, and it's going to turn into something green or black, which, people immediately go, it's a mold spot, it's whatever, but science tells us it's not mold, it's something else, it's an actual bacterial infection. And so I've actually been in forums online where they talk about, oh, it's just a greenie, right? It's a greenie, which frustrates me because I feel like the term greenie is just like trying to downplay the actual seriousness of what a bacterial infection is in the first place. But by calling it like a cutesy name like greenie, they're trying to make it, I guess, for lack of a better term, whimsical.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from.
Playing it down.
Greenie thing.
I feel like it's overseas. It's like an overseas thing. Like,
It's
it's a
greenie.
greenie. Like, it's a bacterial infection, and it should be treated as such.
A little more serious.
Yeah, it is just a little, just a smidge. But it's, and it's hard to get. It's hard to educate people and educate the clients about it, especially when they've either had to deal with a lot or they know somebody that I don't know. It's just like it's a big messy conversation around that green spot.
But again, don't you think if we try to educate the client, where they go, educate the client, let them use those words that we know what it is, right? Rather than just saying, oh, this is, because I think it does elevate us as professionals when we can speak technically to them and tell them, again, not diagnosing it or telling them exactly what it is, but this appears, in my professional opinion, to be, or it could be, it's a bacterial infection. Educating them as to why and what, and it elevates us.
Yeah,
it elevates us as professionals.
Because a lot of times, even though I'll look at it and know exactly what's going on, I never am like, oh, that's a blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
I'm just like, I'll literally play stupid and go, ooh, what's going on there?
Yeah.
What's that? What's you got going on?
Have you been to the doctor?
Yeah, what is that? Have you seen this? And then they'll go, oh, what?
I've had it forever.
That's normal. That's my
It's always been black.
It's always been mushy. It's fine. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people do. They wake up and they're just like, oh, and then you'll even ask them, like, how long have you been dealing with that? And they'll literally go, oh, yesterday or last week. Oh, I just noticed it last
I got
week.
it the last time.
It looks like 20 years of no thanks. Like, just sitting there hanging out on the body. Okay. Winking at
Yeah, for sure. But don't you think there's people out there that would tell them to just go ahead and glue it down when she's called, she texts and she says it's lifting. There's those nail techs out there that will just say, yeah, go ahead and just get a little glue and glue down.
Because that's what the next person down this thread said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's look at it, right?
Just glue it down.
Well, and the other thing that I love too is like, it can cause greenies and fungus, and it should not be done period. I'm with that person, but you do have to be careful about, again, saying things like fungus. Like you can't really say that either. Right. And then it's like, what's the comfort level with the person? They're just like, oh, it could be a fungus. It could be, they're just like diagnosing without diagnosing type of thing. I don't know why people do that. Do you? No.
I think people don't like confrontation, and sometimes being a client, you are going somewhere to get a service or whatever by somebody that should be knowledgeable about whatever field it is. And if they're trying to put, something cushy on it, maybe they're calling it greedy so it doesn't prop up like attention when they're in like a 20 nail tech salon.
Oh, maybe. Oh, a greenie. Yeah. You've got a greenie. I like to say with a little accent. Don't ask what accent it is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe what I made up. Yeah, I don't know if maybe what I did. Yeah, greenie.
It's
hilarious.
But I feel like if you're going somewhere, if you take your car in because it's making a weird noise or something doesn't look right, and then you argue or try to justify why it's doing it, then why are you going?
Right. Because you respect their professional opinion, right?
Well, or not.
Or not.
But then you can do it.
Yeah.
Then why are you going? And then you blame them because you're choosing to not educate yourself as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
I like that.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
It's a good one. Yeah, I also feel like there's just a lot of like, what do you call it, self-taught in the world. A lot of people are bragging
Well,
about
you
their
know,
own self-taught.
YouTube.
I'm on YouTube. I've got my own kid. Okay, good. I'm glad for you. Good for you. But it doesn't take away. I think that the problem there is it should not take away from the fact that there are licensed people that actually went to school and they're educated in the field and they work with other people that are educated in the field and this is their conversation like all the time. I just don't think that it should dismiss, like, okay, great, good for you. The world's big enough though, right? And we can still have people that also are educated on the matter talk about it. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Like when people that are licensed on the conversation online, they kind of get like bulldozed by people that aren't licensed, which is interesting. And so it's like, don't say anything truthful about the matter, but then also, it's okay for me to tell you that you're out of line for being licensed. Not everybody needs to be licensed or, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, the interweb.
Back to your little greenie,
Yeah.
your greenie word. What is the technical term for
Yes, thank you. Pseudomonas aeruginosa,
Ooh.
which does sound a little sexy, right?
Say it again.
Pseudomonas aeruginosa.
Mm.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It kind of does.
Almost like I should have a mint julep in my hand.
Yeah. It sounds
While we talk about it.
fancy.
Yeah, it does sound fancy. Like, why would you be scared of something that sounds so fancy?
Because it's a bacterial infection.
Yeah,
It's green.
Because it's green.
yeah. What is a bacterial infection?
Oh my gosh.
Like, what do you
Look at this.
What do you got?
Look at this. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me get my little spectacles on here because I found this fancy little information out there about this Pseudomonas. Wait, I don't say it as fancy.
Yeah,
as Shauna.
Pseudomonas aeruginosa.
Says it's the epitome of an opportunistic pathogen of humans. And it almost never infects uncompromised tissues. Yet there is hardly any tissue that it cannot infect if the tissue defenses are compromised in some manner. So the opportunistic pathogen, it can cause urinary tract infections, respiratory system infections, dermatitis, soft tissue infections, bacterium, bone and joint infections,
Oh no.
gastrointestinal infections, and a variety of systemic infections.
Could you imagine, like, excuse me, I have a gas. It's just my
Yeah,
my
nails.
bacterial infection on my fingernail.
and for those clients who have any kind of compromised immune system, whether or not they've been, with cancer, lupus, AIDS, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
It's going to even be worse. So they've got this little grainy that's just a little nothing.
Yeah, and
Sure,
people
death
think like,
is
oh, it's no
very-
big deal.
it's no
People
big
say that.
deal.
I've had people say this,
It's
they're like,
no
oh,
big
it's no
deal.
big
It
deal.
doesn't hurt.
Just glue it down. It's fine.
It doesn't hurt, but then
Just put
we've
more
got
glitter
more
on it.
and
Just
more
buff it
and
off,
more.
Shauna.
Yeah, I've had people say that to me too. Like, just buff it off. Just throw more glitter on it. It's fine.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty serious to me.
it does sound pretty serious.
I don't want any of those things.
Especially for my nails.
Yeah, no kidding.
From just nails.
From just a greenie.
Because they're pretty. And I want to look pretty.
Yeah,
Like,
for the cost of beauty. Yeah,
The cost of pretty.
for the glue of it.
Yeah. Just for
the glue of
using
it.
that glue.
Yeah, yikes.
Oh,
And not listening to the trained professional that has
That
a
went
little
to school.
insight. Yeah, went to school and has some insight on it.
that's licensed.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it even says here, like, it's a rapidly growing contagious. Let me say that again, contagious.
Let's talk about contagious, right?
I don't want it spread from someone else to me.
Yeah, right. So then we've got dirty
And we all know how that happens, right?
Yeah, dirty tools, dirty technicians, not cleaning their tools, reusing tools, or they feel like they're doing, this is the other part, right? They think that they're doing thorough infection control, disinfection procedures, but they're not, right? They've got,
Well, not when they pull it out of their pocket.
no, or the front drawer, or just, let's talk about this, the half full barbicide jar that's still got floaty stuff in it. Yeah, yesterday's,
skin
yeah.
floaties in it.
So gross.
Or it's not actually barbicide.
It's not barbicide, or it's like supposed to be dark cobalt blue, but it's like this weird teal green minty foggy color. And then also / you've got the items the implements sitting in the disinfectant, but they're halfway submerged, not all the way. So just clean
Or
it
they don't
out.
get rinsed off.
Yeah, just clean it. Yeah, and
Before
then
it
just
comes
pull it
out
out. I mean, they're
outside.
just like, don't get me started on the entire. That's a whole nother podcast.
So then that's a whole other podcast. Yeah, when we're talking about the contagious part of this.
Yeah, so
Right?
contagious. Yeah.
So we worked on the gal with the greening, and then we worked on the next gal.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
just-
we're
yeah.
healthy.
We just half-assed threw it in the barbicide.
But-
It's fine.
They're not now.
Yeah, crazy.
Just
But
spread
nowadays
the
people
infection.
use new files, new bits, so that sometimes can be avoided. But if you don't
Sometimes.
clean your counter,
Yeah.
it's disinfected after that.
Yeah, totally.
And then you can get it as a nail tech.
Yeah, totally. Some people use the same nail dust brush for everybody. Anyway, it says that it can cause a bacteria that can cause an infection. It gets seen in the early stages as a yellow to green spot, becomes darker. It's in its advanced stage, changing from yellow to green to brown to black. Medical referral is required. So again, right, like send the client to the doctor, don't mess around with it, don't glue it down, don't try to minimalize it, call it greeny, don't try to say that it's fine and it'll just go away on its own. I'm just gonna put some glitter on it. The client, unfortunately, they'll even say like, please, we'll just cover it up because I've got an event to go to. And I'll tell them, oh, well, we can't just put something back on. They'll literally say to me like, well, I can't walk around with no nail. And I'm like, well, you don't want to walk around with a bacterial infection.
Or no finger.
Yeah, or no finger. Amputation's real.
If it gets to that point, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Google it. It's out there. They have people lose their fingers and limbs to bacterial infections every day.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty serious.
And I would respect the technician that I'm going to more and be a continued referring high tipper if they were to take into consideration like the best thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, they're not singling you out and trying to make you feel
Yeah.
bad. It's just
Yeah.
they're trying to help you.
Thank you for that, Nikki, because I do feel like there's a lot of people, client-wise, from the client's perspective, that they actually do appreciate the smart technician that's taking the time to be clean, to be safe, to educate, to do things safely, to do things correctly. And then those people are grateful and thankful for the technician that they have, and they takes them forever to find that person. So with that being said, it's always interesting to me when you work with other licensed professionals because, of course, right, like we all went to different schools, we all have a different background, we all have a different opinion and a different angle on it. But it's always interesting to me when somebody tries to, like a licensed professional is trying to, you know, hold the standard and do everything according to the book and be clean and be professional. And then you've got other licensed professionals they're working with that are like, oh, you're just like doing too much, you're over the top, you don't need to be that clean, you're over exaggerating. It's like, I don't know that you can over exaggerate a bacterial infection or undermine one. Like,
or take the extra 2 minutes that it's
Yeah.
going to take to
yeah.
write down your
Yeah.
you know, write down your
How about you don't be lazy?
Mhm.
How about that? But I feel like there's so many people that are uncomfortable with confrontation that they just take it and they just go, okay, and then they, you know, just move on with their lives instead of standing their ground and saying, no, actually, this is right what I'm doing, and maybe you should step your game up, you know, and then just walk away and then like go to the next service.
Well, and part of like the board practical is like safety and sanitation.
Yeah.
Is like one of the biggest things
Well, it's
that
all
will make
based
you
on.
fail.
Yeah.
You can do the procedure right, but if you're not being clean, like, so if the way to get certified and licensed to do nails, you would almost think that they would try to implement that into their procedure and process doing someone's nails because it was probably shoved down your throat during the entire school,
Yes.
you know?
Well, if you were in any of my classes,
Maybe not.
if you were in any of my classes, you definitely had it shoved down your throat. Infection control, and then bacteria infections and amputation and things that were serious. So they definitely shoved it in your face. And I feel like because of that, it's okay. And I wear it with a badge of honor. Because of that, I now have all these licensed professionals that are out in the world, and I feel like even clients, even people will come up to me like, hey, I met so and so. I know that they were your student because of the way that they're doing this, which just makes me feel good about the things that I instilled in licensed professionals, because I feel like in order to change all of these things that are wrong in the world and things that we see online is to start with the education. So it was always like my forefront to give the most honest, best education I could, and then hope that it sunk in, and then hope that people wanted to follow that as a standard. And to this day they do, and they are proud of it, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of all of you guys.
They'll be in business.
Huh?
They'll be in business.
Yeah.
And they won't get shut down.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be licensed forever.
I'm pretty sure the place that my old coworker that came to you,
Yeah, the place is
I'm
shut
pretty
down.
sure it's not there anymore.
No, it's not. Which leads me to an interesting story, right? So once upon a time, when I think I was been doing nails for 8 years. Anyway, a new client came in. She was very excited. She was referred to me. My whole business was based off referrals, word of mouth. So I never really had to pay for advertising, God bless, right? Anyway, so when she came in, she was supposed to just get a fill. And when she came in for the fill, I took off the polish, and all of her nails were like black green, like the darkest black green I've ever seen. And I immediately was shocked and was just thrown back like, whoa, what's that? I've never seen something that bad, but it was on all 10 nails. So anyway, she's like, oh, I don't know, like that's, it's normal. It's far from normal, right?
Right.
So I'm like, without trying to scare her to death, I just couldn't even get over it. And I had to call my friend that I worked with forever, practically my whole career, called her in to look at it. And said, hey, look at this. And even she was like, whoa.
Wait, was this under polish or was it under acrylic?
It was under acrylic. Good question.
Okay.
Yeah, it was under acrylic.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, like, what's going on here? What's that? What you got going on? And she just said, oh, it's, and she said to me, it's mold. It's normal. And I said, what? I said, that's really? And I said, well, I don't think that's normal, because again, right, don't diagnose, don't treat. So I said, well, I don't think that that's normal. I think that that's needs a doctor. And then she immediately was like, what? Why? Why do I need a doctor? And I said, well, what did your, because I'm always curious, like, what did your nail tech say? What's going on here?
Was she doing them or was the nail tech?
Her nail tech was doing them. Her licensed nail tech was doing them. And she's like, well, she's been doing nails for 30 years, right? So sometimes it's a blessing when people have been doing services for that long, and sometimes it's a crutch.
Right.
Because, okay, be licensed for 30 years, but please educate yourself along the way so that, you understand what time it is, right? Good grief. Anyway, so I said, well, what did your technician say about that? And she said, well, she told me a couple of things because it's been going on for about 6 months. And I said, oh, okay. So she goes, well, she told me it was too much moisture in my nail, my pH balance was off, I was working out too hard, so it caused the green.
And that's all of that
causes green spots.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just was floored, and I thought all of the excuses that this poor woman had told me that was the reason why this infection existed, but nothing was the technician's fault. Nothing was like, oh, because I did shoddy prep, oh, because I didn't clean my tools, oh, because I continued to lie to you about the actual situation that's happening, and just keep putting glitter on top and acrylic on top and embedding it on top and not cleaning anything. Like, my God.
Was it under the nail or between the nail and the acrylic?
By the time she had gotten to me with their nail infection, it was through the whole nail bed, like all the way to the
So it started on the surface.
Yeah, it started on the surface and I think just chewed its way down to the meat part of the nail, which is where all the blood vessels are at. Anyway, so I said, okay. I go, well, we can't do a fill, and I shouldn't even do your nails right now because of the level of infection that exists. But I will put on a mask and goggles. I will soak off the nails, and then you need to go to the doctor, and then get medication. And I hope that everything turns out okay because this looks very bad. And she was upset, and she of course was like, well, I can't go to work like this, like I use my hands to talk. I said, I understand, but if you don't take these off to get better, like you're going to probably have serious repercussions. Like, I don't know what could happen. So she said, okay, well, let's do that. So I took her nails off. We soaked them off gently. When we got them off, they were so mushy. And
how long did it take to soak off?
It took me an hour and a half to softly remove them.
Carefully, right?
I was so
How long
concerned.
did it take to usually soak off like mine?
10 minutes.
But you have to be,
And I
cautious.
was more concerned because of the level of infection and how soft they were, because when I gently pushed on the top before I started soaking it off, you could see the whole fingernail plate where the plate was like move up and down, like within the finger.
Yeah.
And so I was really worried that I was going to soak it off and the whole fingernail was going to fall off and her bone was going to be exposed. In my head, like that was how much was going on. And anyway, so we got them gently off, and I told her, I said, I think you need to go to the doctor, but it's Friday at 6:00, so unless you're going to the ER, which maybe you should, I don't know, that's up to you. And I told her, maybe soak it in some hydrogen peroxide and then a bleach solution to just kind of kill whatever bacteria is going on there or keep it from progressing. And then when you get to the doctor, talk to the doctor about what to do. So I said, if you do this and then let it heal, so it'll probably take about 6 months. And then when they're all healed, if you come back to me, we'll do your nails and we'll never have to deal with this again. I promise you will never have this problem again, ever. But you have to trust me. So, and I know you just met me. So she said, okay, no problem. So she did. She went home. She started doing the soak, soaking the nails in one solution and then switching it off the next time she soaked. So it was every, 2 to 3 hours for about 5 minutes a soak. And then she went to the doctor. When she talked to the doctor actually said, well, what did the nail tech say? And she told the doctor, and the doctor said, yeah, that works. That makes sense. So that's smart. So I felt good about that. I didn't steer her wrong. But anyway, so she came back in 6 months. We did her nails and we did French. And we never had another green problem for as long as, and I did her nails for another 10 years.
Yeah, see, I think that's what it is. It builds the loyalty. Once you can get them to trust you and they see results, they're going to be the most loyal clients out there.
Yeah.
Did she have any of those side effects? Did she have any health issues?
Yeah, great, good question. Yeah,
all that stuff we talked about.
Black mold, right?
Or
on your body, yeah.
Green.
Good point. So you're right, because I did ask her. I said, "Have you been are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Have you any side effects? You think?" And she said she did admit that she had, severe headaches and nauseousness, and that she didn't feel good. She was fatigued, but she couldn't really figure it out. And then you're right. And then after she was healed and we were doing her nails, I asked her again, "Hey, is everything cleared up, and how's that going?" And she said that everything was gone. So it's just so interesting,
to think that just from
but then
moment though.
Yeah,
I mean, for safety for her, but for you,
I did feel really good about okay, well, I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right things and holding the right standard. And then I gained a loyal client, which was priceless. But so when I hear right, Missy, the things that you read about the bacterial infection happening cause bone and joint disease, my goodness. So, what's the takeaway? We just want to make sure that we're, uphold the law, follow infection control, don't treat or diagnose, and don't tell lies to cover up your shoddy, lazy work. Right. And be honest and forthcoming, and everything should be okay.
And hopefully your clients don't just keep gluing their own.
Don't glue your nails down for the glue of it.
I do have a question from on a professional standpoint. So in a couple fields that I've worked in, they require continued education annually or every 2 years when you get your license. Is this an area that is required for that? Because this would be a good topic if people aren't super familiar with it.
Gosh, no doubt, Nicole. Right? Actually, Washington State does not require continued education for licensed professionals, but they do for instructors. Instructors are required to do 12 hours of additional education, but licensed professionals are not required to do that. There's other states like Chicago.
So we're in another state, right? Chicago, its own state. Illinois, yes.
Yeah.
You're right, John.
Oh, sorry.
Does seem like its own state.
Well, now's my forte, that's
No, actually, Illinois does require continuing education, and I do still hold my Illinois license as well. And so, unfortunately, it's only 14 hours every 2 years. It used to be 20. They took it down to 14 hours, and I still do that because I forever want to keep a license. You earn a license, you want to keep it everywhere. So I do earn my 14 hours every 2 years of continuing education. And it is, like you say, I think that's important.
Oh, sure.
Even on just, let's review infection control.
When you guys are in the
Yes, because maybe we wouldn't
have.
have people that are licensed for 30 years going, I've been licensed for 30 years, and
Just
then glue it down and hand out bacterial infection
Well,
and
and
bone
how,
and joint disease.
how much has our medical system evolved in 30 years?
A lot.
Like in information, or even in life.
Yeah, a lot.
So
And medical advances all the time.
Absolutely.
you're part of like a state thing, aren't you, for Washington?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you should bring that up.
Oh, maybe I should.
Continuing education.
Continue
for the state of
education for state of Washington.
I don't know if any of the listeners would agree with that, right?
They might be like, oh man, she's
Yeah,
requesting more
why do we have to do
education.
that?
But did you know about what we just talked about?
I feel like, right, it's like a split down the middle. I feel like there's tons of licensed professionals that take everything very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
They would absolutely be like,
And seek out their own
absolutely,
continuing education. Not everyone
absolutely,
would.
we gotta do this. Continued education. Because right now, I just feel like the state of Washington leaves it up to the licensed professional, make sure that they're staying on top of, the trends and the things that are changing, medical advances and services and the way things are treated. So, right.
Oh, it's gonna be, that's good.
It is
Good thoughts.
It is a good thought.
But we won't even go. I was gonna say every state has its own, right?
They
That's
do.
a whole new, that's next topic, right? Get the states all aligned and let's get one license. Yeah.
I do have a subcommittee meeting this Friday, so maybe.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. But for the glue of it,
Yeah, for the glue of it.
Don't do it.
don't glue
Don't
it.
do it.
Just, yeah, don't glue it.
Yeah, just get a fill.
And if your nail tech can't answer what's going on or is hesitant or you feel like something's just not right, it's okay to just leave.
Yeah, it's
During
okay.
your service to get up and walk out.
It absolutely
Because
is.
it's help.
Yeah. Let's normalize that.
Healthy.
Saying no.
Okay.
Just say no. All right, you guys, I think that's it.
I got a question.
Oh,
No.
yes, Doug.
So what should a healthy nail look like? So for the people listening at home, if they think they may have a nail infection or they don't know, what does a healthy nail look like or should it
That's
look like?
smart, yeah. So a healthy nail should be pink, translucent, firm, without hollows, without any spots, without any pits, and it should be flexible and shiny. It should not be black or green.
Please, no
Or
green.
stripy.
Or stripy.
Or lifted uneven
Spotted,
white line.
Good question. Yeah,
That's
excellent.
probably an answer to a test question, everyone.
It actually is.
What is the appearance of a healthy nail?
It is. What are the characteristics? Yeah. Good question, Doug. All right.
I love it.
Well, ladies, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so
ladies and
much.
gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Congratulations.
On the first podcast.
Congratulations on the first book.
How
And
exciting.
that's a wrap.
And I'm Shauna Martin, and this has been Book Till June.